Hey guys and gals, this is Alex with Legendary Apartment Brokers. Today is Monday, January 12th, 2026, and this is the KC Multifamily Minute. Let's dive into every single new opportunity that hits the open market on here in Kansas City that's multifamily. Look at everything $500,000 plus. New opportunities. Let's get right into it like we ever do every single week with some statistics. Sorry I don't have my normal microphone this week, but however, I guarantee you we've got some good stuff to cover. As we talked about last week, we went over all my favorite deals. If you didn't hear my favorite deals that are currently on the market, regardless of when they came out, please do a re-listen of last week. We're also going to have this week's statistics for sales for the end of 2025, statistics for December, how that plays out, how that compares to prior years, as well as how that ends up over the last 6 months compared to 2024. So cover that here in a second. However, what do we got here for stats? Well, first of all, on the open market, on the MLS, I got my website pulled up, legendaryapartmentbrokers.com. There are 55 listings that are out there that are multifamily that are $500,000 plus that were built before 2021. So anything that's 5 years old or older is something I'm going to cover on this podcast. So there's 55 out there, 43 are available, which means 12 are under contract. Guys, that's a low number, the 55 and 43. In particular, with 55, a lot of closings occurred at the end of the month. At least that's the way it felt. However, stats will show a little bit different story. But 55 opportunities is not very many. Neither is 43. But with 12 being under contract, we got a lot that you can look at. And then over on, we actually, before we get into the LoopNet side of the house, we got 3 new listings we're going to cover here today. You can see those on my website right now in Belton, in KCMO, and in Kansas City, Kansas, okay? Then over here on LoopNet, pull that up here. Got the LoopNet website pulled up. There are 30 listings. So there used to be around 33, 35 listings with those all being available. Now we're at 30 listings. 25 are active and available, which means 5 are showing as under contract. So light over there as well, not a whole lot of activity. We do have 1 new listing. So this week, guys, we're going to cover 4 new listings out on the open market, plus statistics for the end of 2025. So let's get right into it. So back on my website, let's cover the first new listing. We've got a listing here in Belton, which is going to be 16, or I think it's 16 units. Regardless of how many units, it's $2.8 million for 16 units. $175,000 per unit. These are all newer construction, 2000 or newer, which is an excellent, range of construction year built. This is a great submarket. This is more in the class B minus or A minus, maybe even a class A location of Belton. Remember, Belton can go as low as a class C location, depending on the location there, but it's a great suburb south of Kansas City in Cass County. $175,000 per door for a duplex, not bad. You're looking at $350,000 per duplex, which is kind of the going rate, especially on these newer constructed stuff. I think rents can get up to about $1,500 plus per unit. They're all 3-bedroom units, okay, every single one of them. So this is something you should take a look at if you've got some around that $3 million range in the Kansas City submarket. Maybe you got a 1031 exchange coming up. Maybe you are looking at just growing your portfolio. Please reach out, Alex at legendaryparkbrokers.com. We can talk about these, okay? So that's the first new one here that I like. The second listing here is going to be in Kansas City, Missouri proper. This is going to be South Kansas City. It's kind of urban core, kind of suburban. It's 10 units for $965, so obviously it's $96,500 per unit. Lots of different strategies here. You've got buy and hold, of course. You've got at least some of these. This is actually all condos, okay? So you can buy a condo building and you've got yourself you can condo these out over time yourself. You can keep them. You can sell them. Just depends. But I think it's a good price. Locations probably B minus, C plus, depending on who you are and how you view it. There's some opportunity to do some different things with this package. Another one I like, okay? So if you've got around $1 million to spend, let's talk about this one here in Kansas City, Missouri, all right? Next up, another new MLS listing. This has been on the market here in the last year or so. quite a unique opportunity. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. $3.365 million in Kansas City, Kansas, off of Leavenworth Road, called Manor Place. Mostly vacant building. It's more for a charity, nonprofit kind of organization to take this on. If you want to learn more about this, email me, Alex at legendaryapartmentbrokers.com, and we can talk about that one as well. Okay, so that's all the new MLS listings. Let's pop on over here to LoopNet. This listing is actually my listing. Okay, so podcast listeners, we're zooming in here to Olathe, 341 East Lula Street, Olathe, Kansas, 41 units in Olathe. It's unpriced, and I'm not going to go into the actual pricing of it, but it's unpriced. He spent about $4 million to buy it. Plus, then he also put in a lot of money into the exterior as well as the interior. So you can about imagine what the price is going to be on this one. Thumbing through the photos here, you're looking at a beautiful exterior, kind of a black gray exterior with some color combinations. It's pretty popular nowadays. It's a Class A location, maybe an A plus location, downtown Olathe. I mean, of course, I love everything about this opportunity here. We're doing weekly tours on Thursdays. If you want to get in and tour this property, and you want to see the details on it, email me, Alex at legendaryapartmentbrokers.com, and we can take a look at this one. I can go on and on about how much I really like this one. I got video, I got 3D tours, I got the income and expenses, I've got rent roll, I've got a pro forma on it. So let's reach out. Let's talk about this one. We got offers this Thursday, and then call for offers due in middle of February. Okay. All right. So that's all the new opportunities. Remember, we covered 4 of them. I like 3 of the 4 a lot. And the 4th one is special for a specific kind of investor. All right. Okay. So now statistics. How did we end up last year in the end of 2025? I've got this pulled up. This covers every single month of the year for the last 5 years, including 2020. So it's actually 6 years. December, here's the far right column, of course, and it's going to be this turquoise-ish color, kind of a sea green deal next to the pink. The pink is 2024. The sea green is 2025. And you can see that we're lower than the prior year by 3 or 4 transactions. This is only 5 units and above. And this is across the entire metro. Only the counties of the metro, which is the 7 counties of the Kansas City metro, $300,000 up to $20 million purchase price. This is MLS data only. But you can see the end of the year, we also did not do as well as 2024. I actually went back, here 6 months. For the most part, for the last 6 months, we did not do as well in terms of number of sales compared to the prior year. There's maybe 1 or 2 months where maybe net 5, maybe net 8 compared to prior year for the last 6 months of the year. Not really sure exactly why that is. Again, we're talking about for the entire year, maybe 100 transactions. That's $500,000 plus, $300,000 plus. It's 5 units or more. So not a ton of transactions either way, but we didn't see a big jump with transaction volume, even though rates have come down a point and a quarter compared to where they were in mid 2024. So my advice based on all of this is do a relook at every single opportunity that's out there, all the old listings. You've got rates probably around 6.25%, maybe 6%, maybe another rate cut coming end of this month. Good opportunity to look and buy multifamily deals. It's going to be a pretty unique year. Every year is unique, but this one's going to be a unique year. Of course, it's election year, but it's a midterm election, so it shouldn't be as impactful as years past. So keep your eye on the prize, which is Kansas City has a strong growing economy. It's not going to be a steady eddy. You're not going to see the ups and downs. You're still going to have to stretch to hit your numbers here, but buy and hold investors are going to do well. They have done well in Kansas City and will do well. So if you got any questions about this market, email me, Alex at legendaryapartmentbrokers.com, and we'll talk soon.